Hello and welcome to this week's Culture Catch-Up. I'm Takumbo Salako. Joining me is my colleague David Morricone. David, how are you?
I'm a little bit intimidated by the King Kong reject behind us, but otherwise fine.
He is a bit scary and looks like he needs to see a dentist. We are here to talk about movies, the best movies that we figure have been out in cinemas over the last 6 months. This follows our enormous trawl through the music which has come out this year. David, so many films, so many good ones, quite a few bad ones, and a few sleeper hits as well. How have you managed to whittle it down to just 15?
Difficultly. It's been challenging whittling things down to only 15 picks because it's been a very, very good year in cinema. And in our best films of the year so far, we have films like 28 Years Later, which was fantastic, Bring Her Back, Black Bag, and Presence, both films by Steven Soderbergh. But for the sake of brevity, we're just focusing today on the top 5 picks which have made our year so far.
Okay, well, tell us why these 5 are the ones that we should be watching if you have a chance over the summer. Let's start with number 5.
Well, at number 5, we have The Ugly Stepsister. This is the very memorable and very confident debut film by a Norwegian filmmaker called Emily Blichfeldt. And I saw this at the Berlin Film Festival and had the privilege to interview Emily Blichfeldt, who here reimagines the Cinderella fairy tale and sees it from the perspective of Elvira, who will go to any lengths to compete with her more beautiful stepsister for the hand of the prince. And that involves some period-accurate surgery, some tapeworms, and a whole load of toe cutting.
So far so squeamish, but is this one for the faint-hearted?
No, it's not. But strap in, because it's really, really worth it. Because the thing is that it's very, very faithful to the original Grimm Brothers fairy tale. And what Blichfeldt does here is reframe things, like so many other films have done, and see things from a different perspective. However, this is such a confident and well-done film because it really has the convictions of its artistic beliefs. She reframes the fairy tale. She manages to comment on the tyranny of beauty standards, which still persists to this day, and does it through body horror. And there is a comparison and, a fair one to be made with Coralie Fargeat's The Substance, which was one of our favourite films from last year, because it is feminist body horror, because there is a lot of black humour in this. But what really sets it apart, and the reason why it shouldn't be overshadowed by its genre neighbour, is its confidence and its performances, and such a fantastic film that really heralds this really terrific and new cinematic voice. So for that, tusen tack, Emily.
Okay, and you can read more on what you thought about that film in our review, which is available on our website. David, let's go to number 4 right now. What's on the list?
At number 4, we have a film that's been talked about a lot already because it was nominated for several Oscars and won several Oscars as well. It's The Brutalist by Brady Corbet, or Brady Corbet, as he prefers to be known now. And it's this sprawling American saga that follows this architect who immigrates to the US. And through his story, we have this meditation, this very ambitious and aesthetically stunning meditation on cultural gatekeeping, on xenophobia, and on the American dream, which is portrayed here as a lie, so that the status quo is always kept with regards to wealth and privilege. The film features some fantastic performances by Adrien Brody, who won the Oscar for Best Actor for his efforts, but also from Guy Pearce, who maybe should have won the Best Supporting Actor Oscar.
Jury's still out.
No, the jury is not.
No.
But
Who's deciding?
Fantastic performance from Guy Pearce, and also a fantastic score from Daniel Blumberg. What I will say is fantastic about this film is it really takes risk-averse Hollywood to task and shows that you can do that still with a film that is potentially as unmarketable as The Brutalist and succeed.
David, it's getting hot in here. It's possibly because the air is becoming more and more rarefied as we reach the top. That podium places. What's at number 3?
At number 3 is Sinners, and that should tell you plenty about how good this year has been so far, considering it's one of the best films of the year, and it should also go to a certain extent to tell you how good our top 2 picks are. So Sinners is Ryan Coogler's Jim Crow era drama, which doubles up as a vampire horror. And it's an absolute knockout. It features Michael B. Jordan playing twins Stack and Smoke, who want to open a jive joint, and then shit hits the fan.
You keep dancing with the devil. One day he's gonna follow you home.
So there are similarities with this film with Robert Rodriguez's From Dusk Till Dawn, but what Ryan Coogler does so masterfully is take things several steps forward, specifically with regards to music and the blues. He establishes music as this sort of magical conduit between worlds that transcends time and space. And in doing so, he establishes it as a link to the past, a reminder in the present, but also a refuge in the future, and a refuge that can be exploited. Because the antagonists in this film want to appropriate, to disseminate, and to homogenize culture and music, like so many white artists have done over the course of history. And you see this so beautifully in what has got to be the best scene of 2025 so far, in this anachronistic one take, which is breathtaking.
It really is beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, I love this film very, very dearly, and it's an absolute blast.
Ryan Coogler redefining, perhaps, what is soul music. I think anyone who's seen it or will see it will know what I mean. Well, David, that leaves us just with 2. I think I know what's coming. Should we flip a coin? Tell me what's second. What's got the silver spot?
At the second spot is Nickel Boys by Rammel Ross, which is also set in the Jim Crow era. And it's an adaptation of Colin Whitehead's 2019 novel of the same name, which follows 2 friends, Elwood and Turner, who are trapped in this racist reform school, a school which is actually based on a real school in Florida called the Dozier School for Boys, which was notorious for being abusive to its students. It's a very, very powerful film. It's a really stunning meditation on empathy, but it's also quite a destabilizing film, aesthetically speaking, because it's shot from the first-person point of view, and it makes it really an incredible cinematic experience. I came across the words of Barry Jenkins, the director of Moonlight, who is as talented a filmmaker as he is a film critic, apparently, which, you know, some people have several talents, some barely have one. And he said, "This is a medium-defying work, aesthetically, spiritually, a rich and overwhelming cinema where the camera is always curious and what it finds is always arresting. In a time when there are more ways to make a film than ever, Rammel has given us a new way of seeing. It's a thing to make one both humbled and filled with gratitude."
Oh, high praise indeed.
I can't top that.
David, it all comes down to this, that top spot. You know, you've illustrated an incredible array of films there, but what could be better than that?
Well, it was a tricky decision, but our number 1 spot goes to a film that premiered at the Berlin Film Festival this year, that has been released in Spain, but has not had wide release in Europe yet. So I'm really hoping that comes very, very quickly. And that is a film called Sorda, Deaf in English. It is the second film by Spanish filmmaker Eva Libertad. and it's adapted from her short 2021 film of the same name, and it is beautiful.
Pero ¿sabes lo que pasa? Que tú quieres una pareja sorda y una hija sorda. Pero me has elegido a mí y yo soy oyente.
Papi, papi, tienes algo que no tiene nadie. Cuando me miras la boca se me corta el aire.
I lack the words to adequately describe the effect that this film had on me. It tells a story of an interabled couple. There's Angela, who is deaf, and her partner, who is hearing, Hector. And they're both expecting a child, and they don't know whether that child will be deaf or hearing. And this is something that will obviously affect them as a couple, as parents, as members of a community, but also as individuals who want to share their perspective of the world. And it's a film about parenthood, about the trials of motherhood as well, but also a really, really powerful and moving film about love. Because what Eva Libertad does so beautifully well is that she takes the time to establish the world of this loving couple. We see them together, we see them in their communities, we see them with their friends. So by the time trouble arises, we are fully invested in their well-being, and we don't want things to go awry, and they do. And what is also doubly impressive about this film is that it grapples with these very layered emotions. It also depicts the isolation that decries from institutional discrimination with regards to the deaf community. And it does all these things without ever toppling into melodrama. And it really does well in portraying a specific community and yet making the story completely universal. And as old hat as it may be to say, this is a film that genuinely fills your heart up, breaks it, and then puts it back together again. And just speaking about it makes me emotional about and takes me back to seeing it in the cinema for the first time. And I cannot wait for more people to see this film. It is without a doubt our favourite film of the year so far.
David, let's hope that film hits cinemas across Europe as soon as possible. It sounds absolutely amazing. We're only in July. Some big hits to come, of course, as we are now in very, very much in summer. What should we be looking ahead to?
Yeah, well, we're in blockbuster season at the moment, so we've already had several films like F1 the movie, and we wrote the review for that film, which can be found on Euronews Culture. We have the new Jurassic World film, and very, very soon we have the DC MCU standoff with Superman versus the Fantastic Four. But
That's not in one film.
No, sadly not. That would be ambitious, although they did do Superman versus Batman, so you never know.
That's true. Crossover possibilities.
Looking ahead to the coming months, there's the new Julia Ducournau film, which was in Cannes, Alpha, which I am giddy to see. I've already seen the Palme d'Or winner this year. It was Just an Accident by Jafar Panahi. That is an absolute must-see, and that is coming out in September. And further down the line, we have films like Begonia, the new Yorgos Lanthimos, who teams up for, I think it's the fourth time with Emma Stone after The Favourite, Poor Things and Kind of Kindness, for this remake of the South Korean film called Save the Green Planet. So that's Begonia. And also there's one I'm really looking forward to, which is the new Paul Thomas Anderson, which is called One Battle After Another, featuring Leonardo DiCaprio. And later on in the year, the Running Man remake by Edgar Wright. So very much looking forward to that one too. So those ones should really be on everyone's agenda.
Okay, well, we'll certainly be keeping those very firmly on our radar. David, thank you for bringing us that eclectic choice. Champagne for all of those filmmakers who made it onto our list, and perhaps some real pain for those who didn't. If you share our views, do let us know, of course, via our website or social media. For now, thank you very much, David. See you next week.